Hello guys, Nangen Def. Well, how are you all? This is Coach. Just wanted to come and quickly give what I call my Nyari Kopar. And it has to do with our country and what I feel needs to be addressed. Of late, in all honesty, there have been some things that I've seen to me that I believe are not helping our situation. Let's first remember that we came from 22 years of brutal dictatorship, and the wounds are still fresh in the minds of the Gambian people. There are people working in the Gambia today with scars of dictatorship as a result of what Yaya Jammeh and his people did to our people and our country and countrymen. It was just 2 days ago that we were here remembering Single Nyasi, who was tortured more than any other Gambian. Tortures that I believe, and most of us believe, led to his very sudden demise. It wasn't too long ago too that we saw how Ousainou Darboe, who was then mourning the death of Single Nyasi and worried about the torture and arrest of Amadou Sane, was forced to go before the NIA for questioning. We are all very angry about that. So this is why it really saddens me that this government has become extremely comfortable with people who helped Jammeh destroy our country for too long. There is a reason why, as we speak, there is a commission of inquiries into the financial activities of Jammeh and his close associates. And the reason for that commission of inquiry is to make sure that we get to the bottom of all the excesses of Yaya Jammeh in terms of finances. There is also a reason why yesterday, just yesterday on Monday, the Minister of Justice, Mr. Ba Tambadou, told the Gambians that the bill has been drafted and will be sent to the National Assembly to establish the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Countries that create Truth and Reconciliation Commissions are countries that have undergone tremendous hardship, especially excesses, human rights violations, and so on and so forth. If Jammeh was a normal leader, there would not have been any need for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. But Jammeh was not a normal leader. He was a brutal leader. And his brutality on the Gambian people was as a result of the help that he got from other people. When this government appointed the former Speaker of the National Assembly as an ambassador, there was an outcry, but it was dismissed. And what we were told then was that, well, it was necessary for reconciliation. First of all, if you are establishing a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we believe that it is always important that you establish the truth first before reconciling. We believe the government is putting the cart before the horse. But we said, okay, that's fine, let's wait. But what was more disconcerting was to see the person who became the face of Jammeh's defiance against the will of the Gambian people, Mr. Sidi Njai, being present in a gathering that is supposedly a youth group for Adama Barrow. The same guy who in 2013, March of 2013, just few months after Jammeh had illegally executed prisoners, told the Standard newspaper that Yaya Jammeh was the father of the nation, that Yaya Jammeh brought democracy to the Gambia. Sidi Njai's democracy was and is still the murder of Gambian people, the pillaging of Gambian resources, the torture of Gambian people. So this man should not be anybody who espouses an iota of democracy and human rights. And Mr. Barrow, President Barrow, I want you to understand something very seriously. Gambians, some Gambians, ay sibooru kat lañ. So déggee olof ne sibooru ngeen, you forgive me, I have to go there so that I will explain myself better. So déggee olof ne sibooru mooy koo xam ne si boori ki ko tani rek lay nekka. Kooku amul benn principle. All they interested in is the limelight and the benefits that they would get from somebody. These are people who have no principles whatsoever. They do not care about principles. These are people who will jump from one leader to the next, and they don't care. All they care about is to have access to that leadership. They do not care about how bad that leader was or that leader can be. What is important, Mr. President, for you to understand, is that you were legitimately elected by the Gambian people. You do not need cheerleading groups. The leaders who come and establish youth groups are the likes of Gaddafi, the likes of Rawlings, and Yahya Jammeh. What do they have in common? They all usurped power. They took power from the back of the people. Thus, they did not have legitimacy when they came to power. Thereby, trying to gain that legitimacy required them to form these groups that they claim are youth groups that they turn into violent groups that go after innocent people. Gambians are still reeling from the havoc wreaked on the Gambian people. By whom? The Green Boys. A group that was established at first, the same language that they are using now, to further the interest of the president, to defend the agenda of the president. But their agenda was what? To defend Jammeh by any means necessary, and that resulted in what? Them becoming the biggest thugs in that country. What is most sad about this is to turn around and see that the same people who were behind Jammeh's July 22nd movement, or whatever you call it, became the people who took that stage talking about supporting President Barrow. Sidi Njai, who just last year, around this time, insulted Dr. Aissatou Touré, because Dr. Aissatou Touré had the audacity to say that we were tired with dictatorship. Dr. Touré, who was complaining about the arrest of Ousainou Darboe and others, Sidi Njai turned around and insulted her, calling her arrogant, somebody who did not know how to talk. How dare she, Dr. Touré, call Yahya Jammeh a dictator? Google it. It was reported by none other than Freedom newspaper, which was also collaborated by people who were at that meeting. To turn around now and see Sidi Njai, the man who became the face of Jammeh's defiance when he tried so hard to usurp the will of the Gambian people, when Jammeh was ready to plunge that country into bloodbath just so that he would continue to be the illegitimate president of that country. Sidi, who became the spokesperson of Yahya Jammeh during that period, when tens of thousands of Gambians were running for their lives for the first time in our history, becoming refugees in nearby countries. To see that Sidi Njai mount a stage that is supposedly one to do what? To be one that is supposed to be defending the agenda of President Barrow is both insulting and disconcerting. Mr. Barrow, Mr. President, I want to warn you to be very careful. You are a humble guy. Everybody knows that. be very mindful of those people who all they do is clap for you. Because all they care about is not your success, but access is what they care about. The same people who are today calling Yaya Jammeh dictators were the same people yesterday dancing for him. They do not care. And like I've always said, you have an opportunity to leave a legacy that will be celebrated the world over. Mr. President, yes, Gambians forget too soon. Very soon. We are the most forgetful people in the world. Pretty soon, everybody would act like they've forgotten everything that Yaya Jammeh did for us, or did to us as a people. But, Mr. President, there is a reason why your government has established a commission to look into Jammeh's finances and is at the verge of establishing another commission to look into Jammeh's human rights violations. We ask you, Mr. President, as citizens of that country, to take your time before appointing anybody who had served Jammeh, whether as minister, as director, as secretary general, or all these people who have proven one thing and one thing only, that they are corruptible. Because listening to the commissions of inquiry, if there is one thing that has been established, is that they are corruptible. I'm not saying they are corrupt, but they are corruptible in that these are people who took an oath of office to do right by the Gambian people, to respect the constitution of the Gambian people. But these are the same people who will turn around, tell you before the commission that I did not have the courage to tell Jammeh that what he was doing was wrong. So by that in itself, they have proven that they are very, very much corruptible. And Mr. President, if you want your legacy to be one that everybody would be happy about, please do not be hugging people who are corruptible. There are a lot of dignified people in that country who can serve that nation. Gambia needs a new beginning. We do not need to return to the failures of Yaya Jammeh. Gambia needs, Mr. President, a new beginning. We do not need a return to the failed policies of Yaya Jammeh. And to put it, I'm trying to be mild here, but what I see, some of the people that I see around you, not those who have the scars of fighting dictatorship, no. I'm talking about the Sidenjais who are prochndolling to get to you. I'm talking about the Faderas whose names have been mentioned so many times in commissions. I'm talking about all these people who today are there trying to be doing what? Trying to tell you the direction that this country should go to. The same people who failed us for 22 years. Mr. President, it's like people who helped a rapist rape your child or your family member, only to turn around and see those people around your house again with your daughter or your family member there. The same people who applauded when Solo Sending was butchered and murdered. The same people who applauded when the Fatoumata Jawaras and others were violated. The same people who applauded when Ousseynou Dabo was being thrown behind a truck by the military or whatever they call themselves, are the same people today trying to come near you, Mr. President. We have enough qualified Gambians who can man those positions. Not me, I am not. But enough Gambians in the Gambia who can man those positions. Mr. President, let's go through the commissions first. If anybody is found to be clean, then definitely that person has every right to have a job. But unless that is determined, it will be a colossal mistake to continue to have these people whose names are called before these commissions every day to be working in our government. We can do better. You can do better. And you have a chance, Mr. President, to be one of Africa's greatest presidents. A president who took a country from dictatorship, 22 years of total destruction, and bring back credibility to a nation. But that credibility will elude us if those who helped Yaya destroy our country are the same people that are being employed to work with you. The ambassador to South Africa. Come on now. I would hire anybody before I hire that fool as ambassador. The same. You see, we have to be very consistent. 1 minute, we're talking about Fabakary Tombong Jatta. But the same people who conspired with Fabakary Tombong Jatta to destroy our country are today manning positions in that country. We're not telling they don't have a right to work. We're not saying that. But since your government has made it a duty to establish commissions of inquiry, we are asking you, Mr. President, to make sure that all those who served in all these sensitive positions during Yaya Jammeh's time should stay on the sidelines until it is established that they have nothing to hide. Because what is happening is now having an accused person manning the evidence room. The same people who destroyed our country, some of them are now handling sensitive positions, thus putting them in a situation where they can tamper with the evidence that may be brought against them. So my thing, Mr. President Adama Barrow, all genuine Gambians want you to succeed. Any Gambian that does not want you to succeed is not worthy of calling himself a Gambian. All genuine Gambians. Nobody wants to go through an order struggle against a government. No. What we fought for was for democracy, and that's the democracy that we want to continue. What we fought for was against impunity, and we want to see that to be a thing of the past. We want all the bad things that Jammeh has done to be buried 6 feet deep with Jammeh. But that can never happen if those who surround you today are the same people who helped destroy our country. I was so happy when I heard you in your interview in Senegal with one of the TV stations, when they asked you whether you were going to appoint anybody from Jammeh's ministers as a minister, and you told them, no, we do not need them, we have enough people to man those positions. I would say, yes, we need that. If you qualified, you are clean and honest, you can get a job. But unless that is proven, you cannot continue to have these people around you, Mr. President. And I hope all Gambians would understand that what is at stake now is a lot. And if we squander this chance to revive our nation, it would take us decades before this country would be revived again. Because what we have now is a country that was totally destroyed by Yaya Jammeh. A country that has not realized its potential for 52 years. And this is our opportunity to start to do that. But that will not happen with the types of Sidi Njais, Ambassador Bojang or whatever, Speaker Bojang and all those crazy people who destroyed our country continue to be around you. The Siboro nak. You know, the la Siboro. Nekka ca boor rek. Lo wax ñu ne Barrow wiiw. They don't care about you, they don't care about your success. All they care about is their pockets and their access. And if I were you, Mr. President, I'll be more worried about the success of my administration than the access that people get to me. But anyway, I just said I will bring that, and we'll continue this Nyari Kopar thing whenever it becomes necessary. And hopefully, eventually, we'll all realize that the Gambia is our Gambia, and we'll forever speak the truth, irrespective of who wants to hear it. With that, Mr. President, I continue to wish you good luck, and will continue to offer my unsolicited advice, because as a citizen, it is my responsibility to speak my mind whenever it becomes necessary, especially on issues that are pertinent to the country. And finally, to those who will tell you, oh, yow fum nekk ni waxatulo. Listen, there was a time when people needed other people to speak for them. That time is over. We have a democracy. Every Gambian has a right to freedom of expression or opinion. Do not wait for Pasamba Jow or anybody else. If you have something to say it. The era of waiting for somebody is over, because what is there to fear now? You can fly into Banjul in and out anytime you want. So this defeatist idea of, oh, yo de dega tuñ la fum nekk ni, ugej nga wax de war nga wax, that's nonsense. Coach will speak when coach wants to speak, and coach will speak on issues that he believes he wants to speak about. But one thing that's not going to happen, I'm never going to relent in speaking the truth that I believe is the truth. I'm not fighting anybody's fight. I am a Gambian and will continue to speak on matters that are pertinent to the development and advancement of our country. With that, thank you also very much. Let's keep hope alive. Let's keep on keeping on. Thank you also very much.